do this is, but one of the issues, like you mentioned, in terms of mobility is this sense of community, both at camp and then the local communities. I was wondering if you
Right.
had any thoughts about, or what you heard, or in your research, or through interviews on that topic.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of different angles to that, and I'll just sort of name what some of them are before I maybe get into some of the specifics. So, just in terms of my sort of broader sort of analytical way of thinking about this, the question of community in resource production or extraction zones is usually around a couple of things. The sort of impact on a population center, right, like Fort McMurray or Janvier or whatever it is, of having resource production close by, and as kind of the bread and butter as a community, including the impact of having work camps, either nearby or a little further out. So one of those kind of impacts on those population centers. Another kind of question around community is, well, to take that further, is the sort of community camp relation and the community industry relationship, right? And what is the responsibility of industry and or government to those communities because of the impact, right, that they're experiencing? And there's lots of literature on boomtowns, right? So that's a well sort of traveled, area of research, which is to look at all the different things that happen in boomtowns, to put stresses on the community. So I'm not sure there's not anything especially new there, except I think this sort of continued question of boom and bust and downturns, and the changing sort of relationship between oil or other resource industries and population centers around them. They used to build a town, and you don't build a town anymore. You bring in work camps, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing around community, like sort of at a bigger, sort of think of a bigger picture question. And, which includes communities sort of constantly hammering at the door of industry and or government, to pay attention to the fact that they aren't getting the resources they should be getting. And you know that, right? But then the third thing, of course, is the question of work camps themselves as, quote unquote communities. And what does that look like?
Mm-hmm.
And, normally we think of a community as a place that, has some kind of longevity and sort of permanence, right, of some sort. Although that's itself a problem, because in cities, for example, we don't think about that necessarily in those terms. We think about the way people build communities in more flexible ways within cities, around areas of interest or whatever. We think about workplace communities, right, of people have cultures of community that live in their workplaces. Work camps are related to those in some way, but are also really different, because there's the sense of permanence is rather foreshortened in so many ways. But that's why in my research, for example, where community comes up more commonly is among the people who staff the work camps, right? So so it's the people who feed and house and clean up after the oil workers or oil sands related workers, right, who are the guests of camp, who are staying in camp. So, and I went from guest to staying in camp because it's the open camps that would use more of the term guest, because they operate more like a hotel, whereas in the closed camps, I know that the term guest is used. Okay, it's just these are the workers, right, staying in camp,
right,
because they don't operate like a hotel. So that's a side note. So to come back to sort of community, it's not like people who stay in camp have this strong sense of, we are bound to each other in some kind of long place-based way, right? That camps just don't invite that, right? The way we think about community that way. But I would say that there's a certain kind of ephemeral community that's based, and I can give you some examples, quotes from workers on this, of, we're kind of in this together, and we might go crazy if we don't, right? If we don't sort of form bonds and sort of create a sense of family. For camp workers, one of the things that we found, and that I would argue, is that they tend to have